Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Today is the regularly scheduled meeting of Personnel Committee for the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. The date is August 17th, 2021. I think our first orders of business need to be discussed in executive session. So I'd ask for a motion to go into executive session.
So why is that, Mr. Lawrence?
It is a discussion of an individual and a person's salary and pay.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
So, Anne Marie, we just need to step out.
I made the
Oh,
motion.
we just-
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. We'll go into executive session. Okay, it's 4:24 and we are out of executive session, carrying on with our review and adoption of our employee handbook. I'm going to turn this over now to Patty. Patty, I was on page 4 and had an X through principal stenographer.
Oh, I
that
started
what
on
we-
page 3.
Okay.
Just one quick
We're-
comment
yes.
on page 3, last paragraph. The information within this handbook pertains to management, supervisory, and/or confidential employees. We have union supervisors. Do we want to take the supervisory out because it pertains to more than just management employees? Just a question.
Put management supervisory, go management, comma, management supervisory,
Okay,
right?
like it?
Just that deals with, I think we all understand it, but I know what you're getting.
Okay.
Good.
Yes, page 4, principal stenographer, number 9, I think we can take out.
Yep.
But we do have to add administrative assistant. And in the middle of the page, this handbook will take effect whenever it's approved by the board.
Right.
Any other questions on page 4?
Nope.
Any questions on page 5? Just for a little information, in that first paragraph on the last line where it is indicating the equal opportunity without regard to familial status refers to the presence of at least one child under the age of 18. So it could be a single parent, it could be a family, but it must have a child under 18. Any questions on page 5? Page 6. The top of page 7, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. States if the OBPA discovers that an employee has intentionally omitted or provided false information, etc. It's extremely hard to prove. I think it's important to say it, but it's very hard to prove. Someone could simply say, oh, I hit delete on my computer and I didn't realize I left that off, or any number of the dog ate my homework type of excuses. Anything else on page 7? I like this. Page 8.
Can I ask you, I wasn't ever aware, are the management positions have a grade assigned to all of them?
No,
Well, it says normally notices for positions through grade 23.
we can take that out.
No, I didn't know whether, legally, yours or my position had been pushed. How does that work for,
We've never talked about grades for those positions.
no, I mean, it was only,
They may fit into grades in the state system, but we've never talked
and
about it.
then, no, but like compensation for union people that are graded has to stay within those
Right,
grade 9,
Yep.
because if someone's doing a ton of stuff and they should be a grade 12,
Yep.
then we're not paying them there. But would you say that doesn't apply to
I don't think so.
this?
Janet?
I didn't know why that was in there. Is,
I don't think it does.
No.
do you think it's necessary to talk about that before?
Well, I would say that first sentence is, if we took out through grade 23, normally notices for positions will be posted throughout the OBPA for 5 days and externally for a minimum of 4 days over a 2-week period. I'm not sure, well, we don't have that much management right now. But I don't think you'll find too many people outside of management applying.
No, but as far as it
For
being
management
posted so that employees might have someone in their family who might be interested, we do
Well,
that,
that's
don't
true,
we?
yeah. Okay, so we'll
But
just
the
take
grade
out,
23, I don't,
we'll just take out through grade 23,
yeah.
okay. And something to note, nothing to change or anything, the last paragraph in eligibility requirements there, the last sentence, should an employee fail to meet the standards required after accepting a new position within the OBPA, there is no guarantee his or her former or a comparable position will be available. I think it's important to note that if you choose to go forward, then we backfill your old position.
Right.
I think
There's
it's
not
pretty standard.
That safety.
Yeah, I think it
Right.
is
It is
standard.
standard.
But
Yeah.
is there a review of,
It states that,
is there a process way?
Yeah.
I think I saw it, but I might be confusing.
Well, you're screened for eligibility anyway.
Right, but after
Right.
there were so many months, is it 6 months?
I
they
think
need a
it's
review?
6 months they would have a review, just like any new employee would have.
Yeah,
So what could happen is you could review somebody and you're saying you're not working out in here. And they may say, well, can I go back to my old position? And you'd say, that's where you'd say, well, unfortunately not, you're gonna,
Like I say here, management is just pretty much one level.
Right.
You're not going back, and I don't think you would have some.
that's true. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it makes good sense to have
But
it here.
it's, yeah, but I'm
'cause
starting
actually,
getting out into
in
the
in the
union part.
state, you can do that.
Mhm.
Right. No, my bad.
That's fair enough, isn't it?
No,
You
I was,
can.
I got, I was thinking Stephanie's,
Mhm.
but we're still in the union contract.
Yes. Page 9, we get into the employees retiring prior to September 2010.
Mhm.
That was now 11 years ago. I think we should confirm or reconfirm that statement, but I don't know that it needs to be in the new handbook because there's no one except Steve who qualified, well, no, employees retiring, there's no one who qualifies for that.
Right. Right.
We could reconfirm that statement, but I don't know that it has to be in the,
But are you just reaffirming that for those that did retire before 2010?
right, but does it need
Do we
to be
need-
in
Doesn't
the
need to
personnel
be.
handbook?
Doesn't need to be in there, why leave it in?
Right.
Right,
Because we dealt with this, Steve, within your contract, right? What was
Right, right.
specific to you.
Just take it
I think
out.
we can omit it.
Yeah.
omit it.
Omit it. So 3.04,
No,
the
just the
whole,
first part.
just the first the first.
Right, employees retiring on or after September 1st, 2010 would be what everyone would fall into now.
Mhm.
And it says that an employee must have worked a minimum of 1,600 hours a year. And that's about 3/4. It's actually 76% of a full-time position, so somebody was probably full-time. Any questions on page 10? Page 11, the statement just under 3.08 other benefits, I think could be part of section 3.01, introduction to benefits.
Yeah.
That we don't need a whole new section to simply say other benefits when we already know that.
Right.
So
I
can
agree.
we
We can move it.
move it into
3.01.
01?
Be the whole paragraph, the whole,
Just that
Mhm.
one little
Yep.
Little blurb.
but
section
not
there,
call it other benefits, just. have-
incorporated into.
It was good to see you had Juneteenth in there.
Well, 3.09, I was going to ask, the state has made Juneteenth a holiday. It did not add it to the official calendar in 2021 because it fell on a Saturday.
Mhm.
But usually a Saturday holiday is celebrated on Friday, and the state did not do that this year. Did they?
We did.
Oh, you did?
We weren't under that for this year, but going forward,
We will be.
So we are adding Juneteenth and the whole idea of, is it whatever day it falls on?
And no, it's just like right below it. Holidays are falling on a Saturday, we recognize on a Friday.
I think
Holidays falling on a
New
Sunday.
York City tried to get out of it by saying it fell on a Saturday this year.
Right.
And so next year,
Didn't
we don't know
work.
if it's a leap year, anyway, it's probably a Sunday. So we're covered by that bottom, so we'll have Monday off.
Right,
Mhm.
okay. So it is one of those that is actually celebrated on the day. Okay.
That's at the week.
Mhm. Now we get to the bottom of page 11, vacation allowance. Regular full-time management confidential employees hired prior to December 31st, 2006. There's only one of them.
Right.
Why don't we just put Steve's name in there?
We've already fixed that, right?
Now, do we want to take that, starting on page 11 and going to the top of page 12, do we want to take all that out?
I felt like we talked about that in preparing
We talked
Steve's
about it
contract?
as we got
Right,
ready for Steve's contract, but being that it wasn't an official personnel committee,
right.
Mhm.
we didn't do anything.
I think we can omit it, right?
Okay.
Yeah. How does everyone else? Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
No, nobody
I mean, it's
did.
addressed in Steve's contract, so.
Right, I was also thinking about Columbus Day, but I guess it hasn't been officially changed, so we'll just leave it in, right?
Oh,
It will
We just
probably
leave it
become like
until they
Indigenous
change it, right?
Person Day or something, right?
Indigenous.
Indigenous Peoples'
Day,
Day, but
right.
it hasn't been officially
Right.
changed, so.
Right.
We can amend it when that happens.
I mean, I think that's something that we wouldn't have to bring to a full board meeting. We may just say,
As the state changes it.
right, as the state changes it, we would do the same. Vacation scheduling, most of the way down page 12, the second paragraph.
So Patty, I'm so sorry. So we're omitting where it says vacation allowance on the bottom of page 11, like
Yes.
from there through the chunk of delineated. Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
So down under vacation scheduling, the second paragraph. The second sentence, other management confidential employees may take their vacation in 1 week or 1 day intervals. We allow hourly intervals. So if you want to take 3 hours vacation time to leave early today,
We need to add that to the handbook then.
we still separate everything into sick, personal, and vacation, but a lot of people have just PTO.
Right.
So, so in other words, it's aggregated into hours off and you take it however you want. So are you saying
Really?
we should change it to hours? What's that?
It's not divided out by,
We are,
I know, but out in the private sector, everywhere I worked, it was PTO. They just combined it.
yeah.
They just.
you have 21
Whatever your
days of
time was.
PTO, don't care what it
They
is.
don't
Yes.
care what it is.
Right.
Okay.
So that, well, all I'm saying with that one, when you say 1 day intervals, if it was PTO, it would be just whatever hour
Yeah.
or whatever, but I don't know what you were
Well-
aiming towards.
Well, we are separating it out here. Confidential employees may take their vacation.
Here it says you have to take the whole day.
Yes, you have to take either a week or a day. So we need to say something that allows the management employees to take something less than a full day at a time,
So what would the minimum be? 3-hour intervals?
1 hour,
1 hour? Or, so 1 week or 1 day or 1 hour
or a
intervals?
minimum of 1 hour.
Yeah,
Get rid of the 1 day interval.
so I think we can leave
You
that
gotta get rid
in.
of the 1 day if you're gonna have 1 hour.
Well, wouldn't they be able to take it in a week, a
1
day,
week, a
or an
day,
hour?
a day.
Or a
Or
minimum 1
1
hour?
Or hour.
It's wordy, but we also do not, in the next paragraph, plan vacations by March 1st of each year. I know with COVID, it was difficult to do. Do we want to forget this, omit it, if we leave it in, we need to stick to it. And I don't think that's fair because most management works around things like I work around the audit.
Right, right.
Stephanie works around an FAA audit, inspection.
Yeah. Makes sense, eh?
To omit it, right? To
Yeah.
omit, yeah, I don't think that's, I mean, if nobody's doing it now and it seems to work fine, I think we should just,
I would think that was more for an organization that had more employees.
right,
And you had to
make sure that,
do the scheduling.
Right. But the last sentence, stay,
Mhm.
Okay,
it's all about seniority.
yep.
So in order to accommodate all employees, vacations should be planned.
No, we're gonna just throw that out.
We're gonna, the
We'll
whole
just
first,
stay with-
we're gonna,
Yeah, employees with
One line.
greater
Yep.
lengths of
Employees
service,
with greater
yeah.
length.
perfect, yeah.
Okay. On page 13, we go through this unused vacation under other considerations. And the example, if there are 5 days, 40 hours of unused vacation available for buyback, the annual salary shall be divided by 260 to determine the applicable per diem rate. What happens if you only have 36 hours? That's not a per diem rate, that's an hourly rate.
How often do we have unused vacation?
Hmm?
How
There
often?
were only
How
1 or
often?
2 people who bought it back.
Oh, you don't wanna know.
I was gonna say not very often, I would imagine.
There was one person who always did.
And then there was somebody who couldn't get away from this place.
Well, that, yes. Most people do not buy it back, but I think we should simply change it that the salary would be divided by 2,080 to determine the applicable per hour rate.
That's the way
I agree.
Yeah,
2080,
Yes.
right.
okay.
And is December 1st, 2016?
That was the example.
Yeah, just an
Oh,
example.
okay.
That's just an example. We can take out the year because it doesn't really matter.
Right.
It's the December 1st of any year.
Let's take out, yeah, because that might be potentially confusing for someone.
Sure.
Just, I like the example, but we can omit the year.
Okay.
Now, does this need to be run by the board first?
All of this has to be done by the board.
No, I'm talking about, where does it say in here that unused will be eligible for vacation buyback?
Right here.
No, does it say the board shall approve that? Who approves that?
Oh, as long
Oh,
as you are
yeah.
not taking more than half of your time.
Is that just a process
It's
or
a-
does the board, I mean,
No, nobody has to approve it as long as you have the time.
well, all I'm saying, past practice, somebody didn't feel good about, he was always trying to get me to get in on it because he'd take a number of hours. And then he'd ask the board to look at it. Just like, rather than just saying it is what it is.
It is here.
You're familiar with what I'm talking
Yep,
about?
I know what you're talking about.
And it was only him and I.
Yep.
Because nobody, but he was always, like misery loves company. And he did it 2019. And all it was, oh, you've got a lot, but don't you want to? I go, no, I'm fine.
If you have even 100 hours of vacation time at November 30th, you could only ask for 50 back anyway.
Right.
You can only
Right.
take half of it.
Mhm.
You can leave that in.
Yeah,
I've got more than 100. I'm just being upfront about it. And not that I'm going to, but I'm just saying.
well, do we want to say if it is in excess of, if the buyback is in excess of so many hours,
Mhm.
that would have to be approved by the executive director or the board?
I think it was brought about because you didn't want all those liabilities just keep piling up. And the idea was to knock all that down because I'm just quickly, when I first started, you were not allowed only allowed 4 days of personal time when I started before you could touch anything. So on my anniversary, I had 160 hours. The next day after my anniversary, they gave me another 160 hours. So I had 320 and you always had to get back to 240 was the thing. So I've been struggling for 20 years. It just keeps piling up and I'm not complaining, but it's a liability. Whenever there was an audit, they were always saying, who's this guy? Doesn't he ever take time off? And sure, I take 2 or 3 weeks.
Right,
But I was never in a normal situation because I was the only one that I think when Mark Mashot started and John Reach started, they gave them, after a certain time, they were allowed the first year to use that up to keep them below that. So anyway, that's kind of why
okay,
my
We
situation.
can put a statement in it that if you're requesting over X number of hours, and we'd have to decide what that was, that would have to be approved.
Pre-approved or something.
Yeah.
by the board.
Mhm.
It's whatever you.
I don't know. I mean, that sounds like it makes sense.
It does.
We could kind of see it coming and know that, something we have to plan for.
More than, so how many hours?
200. How many years will that be to accumulate 200 hours of vacation time
Year and a half for me.
for you?
For the majority of people, and don't forget, this is management also. We have a young management, relatively young management staff. So I think if you said 100 hours, that would be more than enough to
100 would be enough.
collect any of us.
Okay.
I don't think any of us, except Steve, even have really have 100 hours of vacation time. Okay,
And he needs to use his vacation.
you wait till he retires and he gets that bought out. Okay, personal day policy, again, can we dispense with hired prior to December 31st, 2006.
Again, yeah.
Yes.
Is it the same? What's the
Um,
difference? I mean,
13 to 14.
well, it's just the personal leave is not permitted under the,
Then,
We might want to take that, and we don't follow it. Personal days are not considered vacation and should not be taken in conjunction with vacation. We do that. People will take 10 days off and 3 of it's personal and
Yeah.
7's vacation.
we do that.
Then if it works and it's okay, we should just
Yeah.
omit it.
Yeah.
Right. omit
there's
it,
no
then we
real
can-
reason.
Yep.
So that
Sometimes
the
you gotta
whole
burn it
first
up.
part we need to get rid of?
Sure.
Yes,
Okay. Personal day policy.
just prior to December 31st, and then after December 31st, I think is fine. The sick day policy is the same for everyone. So I think we can get rid of the dates total and combine what's on page 15 with what's on page 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions on the sick day policy on page 14? Page 15, partway down, where there's a list, it said sick leave may be used for personal illness, etc. The 72-hour limitation will not be applied to incidents attributed to the following. Well, jury duty, reserve military duty, leave of absence, bereavement, and on-the-job injury, which is workers' comp, can't use sick time anyway. So they shouldn't be on the list. The only thing that should be there is the short-term disability waiting period. But I don't understand the employee may not receive sick pay for absences exceeding 72 consecutive hours.
I didn't understand that either.
That's 3 days at 24 hours or,
Oh, it should be 24 hours.
no. It says you can't receive sick pay for absences exceeding 72 consecutive
Oh.
hours.
It shouldn't,
If you're
So
sick,
you're-
why can't
if
you?
you're sick, more than 3
Why
days.
can't you?
I have no idea.
I mean, if you have sick time and you get sick
You have the
for,
flu,
Mhm,
for multiple days, if you got the sick time coming to you, why can't you use it all?
that's right.
I think we need to just, that whole thing needs to be
omit that.
omitted.
Okay.
I mean, it probably was put in there just to really drive home, we don't want people abusing sick time.
Yeah.
But
Right.
what, yeah, I mean, there's so many things now that might last
So
more than 3
the
days.
first part of that paragraph is okay.
Is fine, yeah.
Okay.
And that short-term disability, we'll just make a statement that short-term disability waiting period can be used as part of, sick time can be used to
Right.
cover
Yeah.
Okay.
cover that. The only thing we need to just make everyone aware, sick time allowances may not exceed available sick time. In other words, you
Right.
can't go in the negative without prior approval.
You go to the sick leave bank.
We don't have one.
Oh,
The option is there to have one,
13.13.
I know. I
but we don't have one.
okay. So what happens if you go into the negative?
Well, you'd have to get permission to go into the negative, but then you're always getting out of the hole. Your next, say you go 13 hours in the negative, then the next pay period, you'd be 9 hours in the negative, then the next pay period. you'd be-
Right. Well, you just
but
have to work your way out of it.
But also strict enforcement
Mhm.
on avoiding the negative means that you use sometimes, a lot of times sick leave is not used. It's a matter of emotional or whatever, you just don't feel like, everybody knows that it's abused.
Mental health days,
Mhm,
Yeah.
those.
No, and it's
I
that,
could use some of those.
so, you need to take some responsibility to manage
Mhm.
the benefits that we give you.
Right.
Right.
And, yeah, I say this because I have over 1,200 hours of sick time. But part of that is I think that shouldn't say to the bridge and port that and I don't mean to, it's different. You know, can't give birth and I don't have a child, and I
Right,
understand how that all works. But at the same time, there were people here that were here 10 years ahead of me, and they were constantly less than 100 hours of sick time.
Yeah, I know.
They
It's
didn't go
in my
negative.
job too. I know
They didn't go
that.
negative,
I
but it
get
was
that.
just that.
Yeah.
You should, you know, my thinking was, you know, you have a heart attack or you have something happen to you and your family, you're not protected.
Right.
And that, you know, sometimes you just don't, whatever. But I'm just saying, as a management tool, it should be discouraged, let's put it that way.
Yes, using sick time should be discouraged.
Right.
Right.
Or non-sick.
Okay, so
Right.
Patty, just going back, we're taking out this, right, where it says sick leave may be used
The
for,
first sentence is okay,
okay, right. The employee may not
Yeah.
receive sick, that part.
and sick time may be used to cover short-term
Short-term.
disability waiting period.
Yeah.
Everything else will go.
Okay.
Now, a little further down in that, it said, sick allowance may be used and borrowed from future time with written permission from the executive director. Do you want that to also say the HR manager, who is also the CFO? Or do you want that to stay just with Steve?
You know,
Are you saying both?
I
You're adding both or?
or
Yeah, I think either or.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, sick leave bank, it is permitted, and that's why we changed it. It is permitted that we can activate a sick leave bank if we choose. That's been in here for a while.
Mhm. No one's acted on it?
As far as I know, we've never had one.
is this, they're two separate sick banks, one from the confidential and one for.
Union, and Union has never activated theirs either. There's no sick bank anywhere, but I suppose we can leave it in. It doesn't.
I think a
hurt
sick
if they
bank
choose to.
could be really, really helpful. So I think it's good that there's a provision for it.
Mhm.
So, just
Yeah.
what's the complications in crossing over? I'm just saying, like if I see somebody, in other words, I can't help somebody that's a union person.
I don't see why not, but
No,
that's, but that's a
I'm just saying.
personal, that's not part of the sick bank.
Oh, I'm getting confused then.
The sick bank is all the management people put in a day every year.
Yeah.
Right.
And the person who gets there first gets it all. Then the rest of us don't get anything. That's what ends up happening, which is why a lot of companies won't put them in. Because right now with 4 of us or 6 of us, we'd have 6 days in the bank, say. The first person who goes out, who doesn't have enough time,
Right.
which is
Right.
another issue.
Once they've used up all their sick time and whatever other time.
Yeah.
Right, then they go to the bank, then I get hit by a car crossing the street, I have no sick bank to go to.
Right.
That's why a lot of people have gotten rid of them.
No, but what if I wanted to donate a week of my sick time to somebody?
That's perfectly
How
acceptable.
does that work?
It is?
You could do that.
You can do that?
yeah,
Mhm.
you
Okay.
can Do that.
So I mean, I could put it in either one I wanted to. It just depends on who it is, you know.
Well,
But that's different because you won't, as soon as, if you were to donate, you give up control over who is going to use
Right.
it.
Right.
if you put it in the sick bank, you're saying anybody can.
Right.
Say Dawn got hit by a bus.
Boy, these are like violent examples, Patty. How about just the flu?
Well, the flu, you should have
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
But say someone gets
You're out for
Seriously
months.
injured, right?
and you wanted to say, I will give you personally 2 weeks of my time, I think that would only have to be approved by you and I.
Okay.
Oh, that is,
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
permitted. Okay, that's
Okay.
interesting.
Is that in it? Is that in it?
No, but I don't see why you couldn't do it.
Right.
Okay.
That's why you can't either.
I mean, we can write that in if you'd like. But
I don't know the legalities of it, that's all.
I think if you're going to make that permissible, it should be in our handbook written down.
Okay,
That like basically,
And
sick leave donations made to specific personnel or, something worded like that.
Yep.
is permitted. And then if you want to talk about how that would be done, like in writing, or maybe with also prior approval
Mhm.
of Steve and you.
Mhm. It's in writing.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I'm good with that.
Time away from work, page 16. Any questions? Page 17. Page 18, there are two statements in blue, which were in our personnel handbook prior to this, which are not part of the state or the federal military leave. We state for military obligations, you will receive the difference between military pay and OBPA pay when military pay is less than your OBPA pay. That is over and above what is required by the military leave. Do we want to do that? It would require changing some of the wording in compensation for exempt employees.
I'm good with it. Somebody's going to be called up, they should be compensated.
Absolutely, right. So we would just keep the OBPA would be that differential. So
Right.
their pay is not going to change at all,
Right.
Right.
right? Yeah, I think that's important to have in there.
Then the statement at the top of the page that says an exempt employee is not paid for any work weeks in which no work is performed by the OBPA would come out,
Yes,
because we will pay that,
yes.
Right.
okay?
And also the employee may elect to use accrued unused benefit time off during
Right, that-
military leave,
That would not happen.
right?
Right. You can't even do that, can you?
What,
Is that against federal?
to use your time?
Yeah. When you're on,
Just seems,
when you've been called up?
You can't take it to make more than what you already made.
Yeah,
right. So, right.
But if you get called up, you shouldn't have to use any accruals.
Right.
What is any military pay received is deducted from the employee's salary?
So if you
Right.
make $500 this week for your, but you normally make $750,
On
we
page
give you
18,
$250.
Right, okay. That's what we're leaving it, okay.
Mhm. Any other questions on page 18? Page 19. One note on New York paid family leave. As a public employer, we may voluntarily opt into it. We do. But the note, and it is stated here toward the bottom, NYPFL cannot be used for one's own serious health condition. FMLA, yes.
Okay,
PIFL, no.
okay.
Any questions on page 21? Page 22. Or 21, just a note under insurance benefits. It says the employee will be responsible for their portion of the insurance premium if they happen to be out. So if someone is not at work and they're on either FMLA, New York PFL, any of these, they have to pay us their portion of the insurance. If they do not, we can terminate them,
From
the insurance, yeah,
From the plan.
from the insurance plan. We would hopefully not ever have to, but we would have to let people know that are going out that that is indeed what can happen. Questions on page 22.
Going back to that, they don't have a chance to pay it when they return. Okay,
Say they don't come back.
Yeah.
Then you are having to go to court. Page 22, page 23. Employee categories. A full-time employee is regularly scheduled to work 35 or more hours a week. Do we want to say that, or do we want to make it the whole 40? Some do 37.
Is everybody who is a full-time employee here working 40 hours? That's their schedule. Then it should be 40,
Okay.
I think.
What about up at the border station? Some days, I mean, how's that working? I know they're both getting 40 hours, but, you know, do they get the 40 in each week? Or is there no
Yes,
overlap?
no, they work 4 10-hour days.
And they're all in one pay?
Well, they do 80 in 2 weeks in our pay,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
No, nobody's ever short being on a Sunday or
Right, right.
or the
Yeah.
Saturday, yeah. Okay. So we're gonna say 40.
Does everyone agree? I just feel like it
Yeah.
should reflect what's,
Okay. Anything else on 23? Anything on page 24?
Under 6.01,
Mm-hmm.
the second paragraph,
Yes.
A, the annual adjustment factor may be set.
Well, you will set it even if it's 0.
May be set.
We get the gist.
so we're changing will to may.
Don't hold your breath.
Anything on page 25?
What about 25 and 24? Where does that fit in with?
We've already
Okay.
talked about
Mhm.
6.04. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I
Yes,
skip ahead to page 25?
yes.
I thought we were going to remove that.
What are you referring to, Sam?
6.04.
Yep.
We're more than, no problem taking it out.
It happened before I got here and it's never happened since.
Right.
Sorry.
At least we know who's
Did I say
responsible.
that kind of?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
Merit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's a merit or a bonus for a project
Yeah,
that comes
no.
in.
yeah, we can take it
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
What is 6.05?
Yeah,
Longevity awards occur with the union members.
Right, but we don't, I mean.
We don't have them, no.
So it just says they're not applicable.
Right.
So we can take it out because, right, or not, or
Why have
or
it
this
in
is-
there?
this is a way of saying,
We don't
No.
have it. right.
okay,
So you can leave it in.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
These
So it's
there are
specific.
with the union employees.
Oh, I
Got
see.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Yep. Um,
wait, so that's not a longevity. We're taking that out.
Right, but that's before 2006 anyway.
Okay.
And
Well, I had a question saying, but since that's gone, that makes that effective.
Right,
Okay.
workplace violence on 25. 26, harassment for workplace.
Oh, I had something on this page,
Okay. On 25 or 26?
26.
Let me ask you a question on 25, the last statement. Employees are prohibited from bringing firearms or other weapons onto the OBPA property.
I did have a question about that too.
So if you went hunting before you came to work in November, and your gun's on the gun
On the
rack,
rack in the back of your truck?
No,
Mm-mm. Absolutely not.
right,
run home.
I'd say hard no on
voting
that.
this one.
I mean, I
It's
bring
just
it,
an excuse.
Right. It's irresponsible
I'm sorry, it's just,
because you don't know how other people are interpreting it. That might just be an innocent, oops, I forgot it. Other people, I think it's just going to elevate tension, anxiety.
well, somebody can also break into your.
That's right.
Your
Vehicle
vehicle.
and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we will leave that in and
Where is that, Patty?
bottom of page 25, last statement.
weigh in on that.
I know, I don't have a problem with that.
Last sentence on page 25.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You
yeah.
can talk about it, but what's the policy of the corrections in their parking lot?
Can't talk about it.
Okay.
But I'm not voted, so whatever.
Well, if you can't have a cell phone, I don't think you can have a gun, right? You better not be able to.
Okay, go for it on page
Go ahead with it.
26. Page 26.
How'd I get on this committee?
So I have a question.
Mhm.
I know like for me on town board, New York State changed the requirements for like employers to have certain things in their sexual harassment policies. Is this?
This is just harassment. We've got
That's coming up.
7.03
Yeah.
that goes on for pages.
Yeah, has that been updated to fit like New York?
This is, yes,
Oh, okay. Okay.
this is brand new.
I guess I'm jumping at the.
Did you have questions on this? Sam?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Where am I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth paragraph.
yes.
It says, you become aware of alleged harassing behavior, must immediately report this to the CFO, the executive director. So what if those that are harassing is the CFO or executive director?
Then we add
Board
the
chairman.
board chairman.
Oh,
Yes.
what
there
I
we
say, I
go.
shouldn't have said it.
Yes. No,
Or
you're
to
very,
the-
you're
to the
very
board.
right about that, or to the board, any board member.
Yeah.
Right, because it could also,
One board member?
yeah, any board member. Mhm.
I like that better.
That's a great point, Sam.
Or any board member, okay. Both the CFO and the executive director?
Well, you never know.
You never know.
That's pretty bad.
It's been days.
Yeah. Anything else on that? Okay. Then 7.03, the sexual harassment policy is pages 27, 28, 29, 30, 31.
But this follows state.
This is the state,
Okay.
32, and on to page 33.
So I do have one question. It covers all of it, I guess, even though I wrote it down in the middle of 28. See what my question says?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you think?
100%. Yeah.
Like annually?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least
Mhm.
training on this annually.
It's required.
We do.
We should probably add
We should
that.
probably add it,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'll
Somewhere.
find the proper place. I'll have Ned tell me where the proper
Okay.
place, training, annual
Yeah.
training.
So all employees will be,
No more ain't happening.
Where was that a?
No, it was a
point?
question.
No. Was there a certain point that you wanted to put?
No, just somewhere in there so that it said we will provide training to all employees
right.
Mhm.
annually.
Because it usually
On
goes
that.
hand in hand with like right to know.
Yes.
I don't know if you do it at the same
Yes.
time, but
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. Would like to know.
Mhm.
I'm surprised we don't have it. Okay.
Same thing for this about reporting to who? Are we adding the
Yes.
same two board members?
Yeah.
Here, but maybe
Okay.
we can add.
That would
it is
be
here
on
already,
page
but maybe we
30,
can-
like under reporting
Yes.
sexual harassment.
Or
It says
board
such
member.
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
But it shouldn't be as needed, it should be like annually.
Yeah,
or
and
bi-annually.
right, not as needed. Right.
So Patty, I'm looking at just the very bottom of 34 under training part B. All employees will be trained instead of as needed, but just maybe
Where are you?
that's bottom of page 34,
Under B,
B,
B.
training will be provided.
Instead of as needed, should be maybe annually.
Okay,
That may fix that.
well, this
This
is,
is active.
we're actually in safety and accident.
Oh, okay, well,
We can take that.
that's a good one to
We
lift.
can take that
Okay.
statement, put it right into the beginning of the,
Got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
no, that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, the safety and accident prevention policy.
right. We do have that training annually.
Annually
going
too.
on everybody?
Yes, it's part of the core training that comes out with PERMA.
Okay,
They call it PESH core training.
that's, oh yeah, I'm well aware of that.
Instead of OSHA, it's PESH.
We have that coming up next week.
Then 35, any questions there?
No.
36,
7.08,
yes.
I was thinking and I didn't say anything. For 35, on
Mhm.
7.06,
Yes,
is like the personal protective equipment like provided by OBPA?
Yes.
Oh, it has to be.
Okay, I didn't know if we
No, we don't allow,
have to
like,
say
you
that
can't
in
come
there
in,
or,
you can't come in and wear your own hard hat or your safety
okay,
glasses.
so that's like implicit. We don't need
Yeah.
to say like
No,
it's
that's
provided.
right. And then what we do for, we do a hazard assessment for all the kind of the, I don't want to say mundane, but the usual things we do. And there's a prescription of what you should have, what you should be using, and it's up to the supervisor to make sure that we provide them with the needed PPE.
well, we could change that sentence to say where all personal protective equipment required by and supplied by your manager,
Okay.
supervisor.
I mean, we can.
Required by
We don't have to,
/
but we can.
provided by,
Right.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That's easy. Okay.
Well, it might be good to just put it in there. That way people know that they have to wear the provided, like they can't bring their own.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Good point, Tony.
7.08,
COVID or medical,
Health pandemic.
anything
Yeah.
medical related that causes
We do have,
something.
but we do have a COVID policy. I can't think of what it's called right offhand. There's a formal that I did. It's posted on the,
right.
Okay.
We should probably take a section out of that and
Or
put that
reference it
in here,
there.
reference it.
Right, use the language.
Mhm.
or in general, don't call it COVID, call it.
You
Yeah,
know, some sort
yeah,
of
right.
pandemic,
Whatever,
medical emergency.
Yep.
yeah, medical emergency.
Okay. Page 37.
You just answered my 8.02 question, so we're good.
Page 30.
Now,
Can I-
Oh,
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to go back to 8.01, the personal appearance. Just in general, I mean, I know I'm just bringing my own personal experience from school. It was a problem. It was an issue.
it is here too.
Okay, so, I mean, the issue that I'd encountered was just people really dressing very, very unprofessionally.
Very casual. shall we
Exactly.
say.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, oh gosh, okay, I don't know.
That third paragraph, extreme styles or those associated with leisure or after-hours dress are considered inappropriate professional attire. Which to me should say what we need it to say.
Mhm. Okay, so it being in here is one thing. That's really great. It seems like it's pretty comprehensively spelled out.
right.
But then it's going to be like the enforcing of it. That will be like another issue. That's a,
That's up
Well,
to
how do you
management
tell
issue.
someone that flip-flops are not professional attire?
they're not.
just directly.
Yes.
I mean, there's,
And I understand in
Yeah.
an office, it's not as big of a problem as if
like safety.
somebody
When
in,
you stub your toe in the copier,
yeah.
it's a safety problem.
Safety.
Oh, it is. More so if you're in the garage, in the maintenance garage.
Right.
But yes, to me, that's not professional attire.
Well, and also, so there's safety issues. And then just also, it's that other, like less tangible, there may be a visiting dignitary of some sort who you just want to present a professional work environment.
Mhm.
And yeah, okay.
What would you,
Daily
con-
bathing, wow.
pardon?
Daily bathing is in there.
Oh, yeah.
I know, I saw that. Like, oh my
What
God.
would you say to, I mean, we also can say flip-flops are a safety problem,
Mhm, Closed-toed shoes
right?
or a sandal with a back strap.
But what would you say to leggings? Professional attire or not?
God, this is so funny because the school setting, it all boiled down to leggings. That was like the issue.
And as soon as you change this and say someone cannot wear flip-flops, somebody's going to come to you and say, but that's all I have in my closet.
Like,
And
well,
I
buy
can't
something else.
afford to buy closed-toed shoes. I mean,
I feel
The-
bad talking about professional.
I know, I was thinking about here I am in my gym clothes, like, oh my God. But I didn't wear this to school, so, but
I
this is,
know.
yeah, I know.
I change into scrubs at work. I feel really bad. I'm sorry.
Examples of
That's funny.
inappropriate attire?
Well, it has to be male and female then.
Yeah,
Cut
That
off
would
shirt.
be
I
up-
mean,
it's
there's
up to
fashion
management.
OSHA rules about cutting off the sleeves.
right.
I'm sorry, with guys, it's not as fashion, it just doesn't, it's not a safety, it's more of a safety thing just because of where they're working, but if they
Mhm.
cut off those safety or the yellow shirts we've got, sorry, the kids, I don't know, 30 years ago, it was mandated you had to start wearing your shirt. You couldn't work all day in construction with your shirt off because of
Right.
sun and cancer. Well, then everyone tried to reduce that shirt down and tearing shirts apart and things like that. And then the cargo shorts ever showed up and it's like I don't have a problem. I can enforce that part. But I know when you get into fashion and office things, but if you go examples, then
But if you say that ladies have to do one thing, and then a guy comes in shorts,
well,
Well, I don't know how strongly you feel about that, but you could just list specific, like hard line, this is not permitted. And then you can just include everything, men's, women, like, shorts above the knee or whatever it is.
no short.
No shorts. So,
To me, it's a safety
Okay,
hazard.
I'm gonna probably embarrass you all.
no problem.
Anyway,
Yeah.
there are places at different ports that I was told where you get written up for sagging for a guy, meaning
Yeah.
it's like the skateboarders with
Yeah.
their pants
Yes,
practically and
Yeah.
their boxers are showing.
Yeah.
And because we've had people from other ports saying to our, normally we get written up for that. And I'm like, what? And they're going, well, it says style of dress that men do. And it's just like, but they get written up for it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, you'd hope that everyone would come to an understanding of what professional, and even in the school district, it's a difficult thing.
Yeah, you'd think, but no. So, yeah, okay. Well, just thought you skipped right over. I'm like, this is amazing that this is not an issue.
Well,
I know we
no,
weren't
I
really
mean, it's
discussing that, but
Dated right there,
okay,
but
great.
how, my question is how badly do we want to
Right.
go about it? And it's not, and this is actually something that would need to go in the union contract.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because our management employees don't fall into
Right.
most of these categories.
Right. And our union contract would not go for a dress code at all. They would not budge at all.
We have
on that.
directives that you don't have, it's not an option.
Yeah. Okay, we can just keep going. I just thought I'd ask.
Discretion should be up to the
Yes.
executive director.
Now, the 8.03 personal telephone use and electronic equipment goes on to page 42. What's in here is part of what Ned had and part of what we had. I think what we need to decide only here, and then we can get the verbiage to match it. What's our policy on personal telephone calls?
Like using their own devices or using
Or either one.
OBPA?
Either
I'm
one.
sure we have both.
Maybe if they have a
I
break.
think they should be using OBPA's like lines for personal
Yeah,
calls,
but
right?
the other end of it is nobody wants to carry two phones. When you have, if I have to give them cell phones, they don't want to answer on their, we've done it. And I don't feel right calling them on their personal phone, but that's a personal, I mean, I'm as a business calling them on their personal phone. So I've kind of thrown that whole personal telephone use. I don't want people doing business on that, but it's kind of, it's like a judgment call.
Yeah, oh, I thought you meant personal phone calls, not phone
Yes.
calls to
No,
Steve.
all I'm saying is to negate that. I'm just saying, on the other hand, to get a hold of any of my guys, and they don't mind texting and all of that. That's just the way it is. I don't like it.
Mhm.
I would like to say, here's our phone, but I can't say you can use it for your personal
Oh, yeah.
phone. And yet they can't go around. I carry two phones just strictly for that. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, to Tony's point or whatever, is that if you say no personal phone calls, and I can understand that, we go the other way with talking business on their personal cell phones.
Right.
Right,
You
so,
know, and we don't pay anything for that, but they like the convenience of it, but
right.
do we insist on saying, you know, you all gotta carry a phone?
Like being in the field is really kind of the exception. Unless it's being in the
Calling
field.
home 5 times a day. You don't have enough time in a day to call home 5 times.
Right. I mean, and there's emergencies happen.
Emergencies happen, but
I think,
"Hi, what are you having for lunch?"
Yeah.
Not necessary,
I would say breaks or lunch.
but management has no breaks.
Right.
So management's, I mean, I can understand if you have to make a doctor's appointment and the only time you can make it is about 9:30, fine, I've got it.
Right.
But if you're going to have a lengthy phone call with a personal friend, with your kids at home,
Right, it's a whole other matter.
Mhm.
when it starts getting to be 20 minutes, a half an hour.
Right.
Right.
And then there's the Pavlov's dog with the texting. When the right sound goes off, same with me. It's like, I have two different sounds, but at the house, one's okay, and then the other one's like, oh shit, something's gone wrong at work, or
Mhm.
or something that I've got to answer to. But you can imagine if you've got young children or things like that, and that's the way you're set up, that of course you want that phone on and near you, and you want to be able to respond, and I understand that, but I don't know how do you say, you know, turn your phones off. I don't know.
That's a tough one.
I mean, you have strict rules over there.
Oh, yeah.
But people, you know, that's
Every
part of
call
what
I
they,
get in, every call I make,
no, I can't get a hold
there's
of
a record of it.
Yeah.
it. But also I can't,
Right.
I know in schools, a lot of people have you put your phone in the box when you come into class and you can have it on the way out. But I don't think we can do that here. I'm tempted, but
No.
I mean, yeah, I know. It's like I work in a restaurant on the weekends and it's all phones upstairs in the office. There's just like no phones. It's a hard line,
mhm.
you know. I know there's always exceptions to the rule, but I guess the message, the message I get is like, do all your bit, like, make sure people know that you're inaccessible, that I don't, someone else is going to have to tend to emergencies, but I know there's that, but then there's also like the making your doctor's office is calling and there's some calls you just
Yeah.
need to take.
You do.
Right. So I don't know.
Talking about, Tony, when you're saying personal phone calls on our line,
So that happens here too.
yeah, but more so it's on your own cell phone.
Right.
Because you're not gonna go looking up your cell phone number and then you're gonna call on your cell phone, because that's your phone book.
I think there are a couple people who have managed plans. So they look up the number and then dial it on the office phones.
Well,
They
that,
don't use their
okay,
minutes.
Could be. Yeah.
but I'm saying in general, most, like, I know the guys out there don't use
Oh,
phones at all.
Yeah.
They're too
Right.
busy
Right.
running a loader or a thing.
I think the field is, that's like that's a different situation. I think being in the field and you calling them and
Right, like
Yeah.
if our industrial development, whatever they call it. Developer we're hiring, economic developer hiring. That person, he or she could be out in the field somewhere.
Right.
And I would assume we could call them on their personal cell phone.
that position historically, well, at least recent history, has had a company phone. There are 4 of them, I think, in the building, 4 or 5.
Yeah, I suppose, that does make sense. Because if they're out somewhere working for us. we
They should have
provide
a phone.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
so are you saying that this is a big problem? It is the cell phone
Well,
use? Okay.
I think it is here, plus the use of computers and electronic equipment for personal use.
Emails.
Emails, buying navy blue
Black Friday,
shoes.
well, they're not for Black Friday. Boxing Day.
That person
Boxing Day.
didn't hear, but it was, the joke is navy blue shoes. Buying them online if you can get around the firewall.
Yeah, that's another thing. We have certain things and at certain.
Do we have a written computer policy?
Yes.
Well, it's all part of this.
But you can, on our system, in here anyway, you can clamp it down, however, but you can't get anywhere to do your bit. I mean, for
Right.
me,
I can't,
Right.
I can't. I don't have
Mhm.
access to the internet because I'm down back.
There are a number of get-arounds for things here that I'm surprised that there are get-arounds. Or people bring in their own personal tablet,
Yeah, like,
or.
I did that, I'm
No.
fired.
yeah, even in the school district,
If you got
that's like
it-
a
you've got it
big
in your
no.
desk drawer, or you have it in your
Yeah.
handbag, and you've got that going,
Because you're
Like
also
I-
using the server here for what?
right, to get
Yeah,
your
no.
internet, or.
May I
My bag is
ask,
searched every day.
how often are employees, like, is this reviewed? Does everybody know? Or is it's
Once
in the
we get-
handbook and you have to
Well,
read
again,
it?
this is management, and this has
Okay.
not yet been put into the union handbook.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 management are here. So we know what it will be. But
But all this should be, I'm gonna go back to training. Because when you do that training, it's like, this is our computer policy and phone policy and all that. And every year, we have to sign off on that. Me using my computer, that doesn't give me squat. But doesn't matter, I have to sign off on that
right,
and the phone and everything. I get a monthly report on every phone in my area and the outside numbers that it's called and how many times, because not all of them are outside, how many times they've received an incoming call
Right.
by minutes, and how many times they've had an outgoing call from their shop.
we can do that. Nobody really has the time to take the phone bill and go through it.
Right,
But we do have the
Pat Hill
ability,
used to do it.
right,
Pat Wood,
Pat, everybody had a sheet beside their phone.
yeah.
If, wherever you called, you had to write it, sheet collect it, and she'd go through the whole thing. But that was the way of compliance and keeping people in line. And
And that's not really, that won't really address the real issue.
it's a behavior thing.
Right. And it's personal cell phones.
Yeah.
Personal use.
Mostly, yes.
Right, you can, if you're logging, you're talking about the OBPA lines, well, yeah, then you do your business here and you do all your personal stuff.
Yeah, so you are doing personal on your own phone, but on company time.
Right.
And, you know,
Right.
So, I mean, I know that we're not here necessarily to like really work out the suggestions for policing it and, maybe rectifying some things, but I do think Sam's idea, I like that, of piggybacking it onto the training and maybe adding an accountability piece where people sign off
Sign off.
that they have been made aware, and then maybe, I'm not sure if you get into, if there's like consequences, like, so what happens if someone is habitually and it's been addressed and they just keep doing it, like, then what?
Right.
Right,
Get a
Well,
verbal-
right, so
you
then it
follow
goes
discipline
disciplinary,
policy.
Right,
yeah.
then it goes right
Yeah.
into disciplinary.
Yep.
I mean, it may at least deter, curb, improve
Right.
well,
some of it.
and just on a management kind of level is, a lot's happened in the last year and a half. And I would say I kind of held off on, requesting or expecting strict performance on everything. And I wanted to see how people would react, and it's all over the place. And it, unfortunately, it's a management thing. It's something I have to do. And I'm not I don't enjoy it because
Right.
I want people to realize why these things are important. But then you get into, you really get into some ticky-tack stuff that I shouldn't have to be doing. And part of that is I don't have the time for that.
Right.
Right.
So some of this is a result of neglect on my part about everyone's performance here. And Patty and I have talked, we're doing the best we can. We hope that people see, what we're trying to accomplish and kind of understand that it's not for themselves, but for others too, and with the Bridgeport. We pay good money here. And I'm not trying to throw that in anybody's face, but, part of that is a responsibility to the organization.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, but that's what I expect, that, people can say, oh, well, however, but I'm trying to set an example, but it's not all about you or me. I mean, it's about the organization.
Do we have yearly evaluations?
Yes, we do.
We're going
We
to
didn't
start
do any
them.
this year.
We're going to start
We're
this
gonna,
fall.
and they have to be done by the 1st of March in order, well, I know for us, in order for any kind of monetary thing, it has to be in place for management. But for them, they get that because it's contractual, but also in that it says that I think it's March 1st, we have to go through the evaluation process. Anyway.
Wow.
So shall I mold all this into maybe a little form that I could send out? Would that be acceptable? And you can give me suggestions on
Yeah,
changes, and then we could insert it as something that
sure.
would start being given out to the employees.
And some of this is related to cybersecurity too.
Yes.
Right, oh,
And
of
that's
course.
being a huge thing, like,
Yeah,
and I don't know everything there is, but it's, like downloading attachment or whatever, all the things associated with that needs to be updated and refreshed.
Okay, so we'll go on to page 42. Only because of 8.04 is why I sent you the travel policy. That's a state policy.
8.05, it's right there.
But that's a state policy, so we really don't have a whole lot to say about that.
okay.
But because it's mentioned in here, I wanted you to have it if you wanted to read it. 8.05, 8.06, standards of conduct, conflict of interest, employment of relatives on page 43. Page 44, confidential information.
No, the 810, oh, what else? 10.01. I know I'm skipping. The section 10.
Mhm.
Where are
Oh,
you?
right at the end.
I have some things to say about that too. I was hoping that would come up. And by the way, my friend called me and I'm skipping, we're not going tonight. So I would really just like to finish this up if
Okay.
we could. Yeah. So no worries about
Well, then
that.
I could wait till we get to that.
Do you think we're duplicating anything?
No,
Okay,
no.
Oh, okay.
they're confidential information and personal liability.
Yeah. Maybe 10. 10.0 kind of expands on it. You know, the more, I mean, I can wait if you want to talk about it, but the more we move ahead on certain projects, it's important that that stays here with us. And I guess this,
You want to deal with it in 10 or?
well,
8?
yeah, because section 10, you kind of, you sign off on it. But it says you're signing off on the whole handbook.
Right.
But I guess, I don't know, maybe that takes care of it.
So is the last paragraph in 810 where it says employees, directors, and their associates,
Yeah,
did you want a little more,
yeah,
more added to that?
yeah,
Kind of tying into,
yeah, in light of everything that's been changing so quick. The tighter we are on the confidentiality here, the better, because of all that's going on. And so what we do, we know who our competitors are. And if that information gets out, we might as well forget it. You know, not even apply for certain grants or projects because others will know what we're trying to do. You know, it'd be nice to say we all get along, and we do, but we're still in competition. Because there's a limited amount of grants and dollars out there. So sometimes we don't like to show our hand. So confidentiality, it's huge.
Yeah, I'm glad it came up. I didn't mean to interrupt Sam
No,
if you're
go
still
ahead.
talking. No, I just think it's I'm glad it's in here. I'd like to read the sign off at the end. Is this one saying basically all information? Oh, receipt of the handbook. Okay. Well, just what I have to say about confidentiality, I know this is like, I feel like I'm a broken record. On my job, I was always talking about it as well. I think that I think all of us need a reminder about how important confidentiality is. I think that there are instances where, so I'm talking about now like everybody within the OBPA, all employees at all levels in the field, you know, airport, all entities. A lot of times things are just discussed very flippantly or casually, and it's really confidential information. And I think just about really everything we deal with is should just not be passed around in the community unless it's something that is public knowledge, right? You know, on my job as a special education teacher, I would talk often to teaching assistants because they would, even something as simple as like naming the name of students, like
Right.
that's confidential. They just think, you know, so I don't know. I think, and then I'm sure, Tony, you see a lot at the hospital. You know, I've been in the grocery store and someone will say, oh yeah, I saw your mom up at, and I'm like, you shouldn't be saying that. I don't think people realize that it's very, very serious. It has potential serious ramifications. And I think we are just all stewards of the OBPA business, whether it's something that seems very insignificant and casual or something that's, like Sam said, relevant and pertinent to some of our big projects. You know, there's a lot going on in our community now. There's a lot of contention. People want to get stuff started. I know there've been people who have asked me, oh, so what do you think? Because, you know, OBPA has been wrapped up in other issues with, you know, other government entities. And
trading information.
Trading
People
information.
want to use
Yeah.
what they know to kind of, and I mean, I notice it more so. And I'm not everything's evil, but they can call it gossip or whatever. People want to tell you what they know, and they feel like, oh, I'm opening up the door, give me something.
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta be on guard all the time.
Or using, I find even, I'm just from firsthand, I've had people, even who I have a personal relationship with, for some reason thinks that I might want to talk about things that happen here, So I think it's just important to be aware of it, be just a good steward of all of our business. And I don't know if you've ever had to deal with that, but that would also follow like a disciplinary, if it can be, right? Is that how
If
it's?
if it's egregious enough.
Okay.
Right, we do have way at the back, I think disciplinary.
Is it in there? Can't remember.
We'll find it.
Ethics policy, 9.01 disciplinary procedures. So we don't have, it's 9.05,
Okay.
What page is that?
53.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I had, I wrote down yearly evaluation.
Mhm.
Okay, good.
When we get there, if you feel that we should spruce it up, beef it up a little bit. let me know. Outside employment, and we go into political contributions. Any questions on page 45?
Could you just, maybe Sam, Steve, or Patty, anyone might know, could you just sum up the holding public office? What are do's or don'ts? I mean, I could read it. Does anyone know off the top of their head?
Well, right near the
Exactly.
bottom,
Okay.
it says,
Oh, I see.
must obtain written approval or become a candidate for an elective office
Okay.
or accept an appointed position, whether you should be compensated or not.
And also the using the OBPA
Yeah,
name
you can't.
in a
use it
political
Right,
campaign.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Page 46. Page 47. At the top of page 47, they do list a number, though not inclusive, to illustrate types of conduct that are unacceptable.
Mhm.
So,
Absenteeism or tardiness, careless or poor work performance, theft, falsification of records. I think it's a relatively comprehensive list.
I mean, I understand the last bullet says violation of any of the OBPA policy or procedure, but do you think we could add something? I mean, how does everybody feel about the confidentiality that we discussed? Should it be like, overt breach of confidentiality policy? I mean,
Add as another bullet.
yeah, then it's explicit.
I wouldn't say overt, I'd say any. I mean, confidentiality is.
Well, yeah, because it could,
It's
you
a-
It
never
should
know.
say breach of confidentiality.
Yeah.
You can't be,
Right.
you either are or you aren't
Right,
confidential.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you were to say overt, I'm just saying, then you're getting
Right.
into different forms of,
Yeah.
when in fact,
You're right. Overt, covert, it doesn't matter.
overt or small,
Breach is-
small or
Right.
large,
Breach of confidentiality.
that's good.
I
would
just
put
think
that-
it's
Yeah,
important enough to be
as a
explicitly
bullet, yeah,
listed.
we'll put that right above violation of any
okay.
OBPA policy or procedure. Page 48 is a continuation of alcohol and drug testing.
Is that new or is that kind of a mirror of?
No,
our whole
I
policy?
believe that's ours.
Yes, okay.
Because they talk about the CDL
Yeah,
drivers.
that all came from,
Yeah, that's ours.
but nobody in management needs a CDL.
No,
Because they first talked about that when I took the director of operations, did I need a
That's true.
CDL, and said no.
do you need one?
No.
Okay,
So,
Oh, for
It's
any
interesting.
of the vehicles out at the airport? You wouldn't need it?
Oh, there are a
No,
lot of
she
them
wouldn't need
that
it,
need
but
it. Oh,
they all need
You
it.
don't as
No, in
manager.
my mind, that would be a violation of a union contract.
Yep.
I would be doing union work.
Out of title.
Right.
Got it. So why do we even need that in there, right? We
Right.
think.
Right, yep.
Tony,
I
Throw it
think we
out.
can take it out.
So
now.
which one, Sam? First
it would be the
three?
top of
two?
48, and second paragraph.
First and
The
second?
CDL drivers must be in compliance.
Yeah, we don't
We'll
need
want
that.
one.
okay.
Okay. I just wanted to go back and mention that the whistleblower policy, that's something new, isn't it? Has that always been?
I think Ned gave that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think
Yeah.
that's a new, yeah, relatively new. Okay.
Page 49, we get into absence from work, tardiness, leaving the premise. They talk again
Wait,
here.
on the bottom there is, says the executive director is authorized to handle unusual circumstances and make adjustments to the standard workday or work week.
Okay.
Recognize that's kind of right here, we talked about.
Oh, yes.
It's like mid-page. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you want to change that or are you just
Well,
pointing it
I
out?
thought that would got to some of the things that previously the work, remember we wanted, I don't know, it's what, I thought we wanted to take that out. The standard workday, work week adjustment we talked about.
Yeah, it would
Mhm.
Mhm.
be in conflict with what we've already taken care of.
Okay, so
Okay.
take that.
So
The
we'll take
time
that
will be
last sentence
recorded.
out.
Oh,
And it'll, when it all, when we get the policy in place, should take care of itself.
Right.
whole thing was on that, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Use of tobacco, confidentiality. Oh, there's another whole section on
Oh,
confidentiality on page
yeah,
50. Do you want to combine 8
1 or 01 and
and
8.22?
8.22?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Where would you like it, in the front or back here?
front.
Okay,
Oh, that goes to exactly what we're looking for.
And it lists very, very specifically.
Yeah.
all right, we'll put it in with 8.01. Right in the beginning,
Mhm.
or 8.05, whatever it was.
Do we adhere to the 100 feet?
For smoking,
Yeah.
We do now.
I believe we do.
Is that a state or is that our?
It's a state,
That's a state.
We can make it whatever we can add to it.
right.
The problem is.
You
if
can't be less than 100, but you can
Correct.
be
Right.
200.
But if you go out the back door, you can get 100 feet away from this building, but you're in another building,
You should be in another building, you mean by.
by another building.
And this is buildings. Should be 100 feet away from
Mhm.
40
Mhm.
buildings.
Median public contacts, in general, only the executive director is authorized to make statements.
Where are we?
You really jumped 8.28.
Oh,
I bless you.
Stephanie.
What's his name comes out with 60 camera in your face? What are you gonna do?
You might got, can I get some
That's kind of hard
B-roll
to,
from the
Well, it says
airport?
in
Meantime,
general.
yeah.
I always give you the opportunity if they call me first to do that.
Well, I just hit it back to you.
Well, I know you did.
I do know, you're fine.
Anything else on page 51?
No.
Okay. 52,
Oh,
at 8.33,
Yeah.
I haven't seen or heard of it ever being, or in recent history being
it used to be,
What are you talking about?
8.33.
back in the 80s. We did it all the time.
Used to be. I quite honestly, I haven't seen 10 or 15.
I was gonna say, I'm wondering,
No clock, no pen set.
how many do we have that fall in those? We must have employees that have never been recognized and thanked for being here.
I know one out back has never been recognized.
That's crazy. We should be.
We need to do
They even do that
Oh, I'll
in
back of you.
in
Yeah.
corrections, they recognize.
Yeah.
They don't
I know.
appreciate us, but they recognize.
I don't know whether any other
Yeah.
places that people have been recognized or not.
Might as well write it in there, because I'm gonna do it.
So can we make an amend to that? And is there a list of people that need to be recognized that the OBPA can do all at once?
Well, I don't think we have to write it in here, but as long as we
Right.
Clean it.
decide
We
that
need
we should
clean,
clean
right.
it up.
Clean it
Yeah.
up.
We should certainly start doing it.
Yes.
Okay.
I think,
Get it.
I don't know about, it talks about
Yep.
gift certificates and prints and all that.
Well,
I don't
clocks
know
and
about
pen
that.
sets are,
Yeah.
that's a to me.
and I
Yeah.
think, I was just gonna make the suggestion that I think the $50 gift, if we want to continue with that, that's great, but it can, honestly, like when I retired, the OEA asked me what I wanted. They had a budget and I said,
New card?
I wanted a gift certificate, this online thing. Some people wanted an Amazon gift card or a favorite, like, I think that's perfectly okay. But I think we need to nix also the whole, the bridge print and the
Yeah.
upward bound print, like
Yeah.
that needs to come out of there. I mean, I think at 20 and 30, we might just up the,
You can get rid of the 40 years of service.
up
I'm
the
not gonna
amount, maybe
keep
20 and 30 might get a
I'm not giving you-
$100 gift if that's what we do, or 75, but
Well, so we'll say 10, 15, 25, 35 will be presented with a $50 gift at the employee's option
yes.
and take out all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So why don't we just bring 20 and 30 to be up there with them? And take out the prints and,
We just thought maybe up the amount. Like if they reach a milestone of 20, maybe they then get a larger amount of money.
but then at 25, you're going backwards.
Right, so you have to.
What does it say?
Yeah, that would be weird.
That is weird. No, forget it then. Then I think you have, then why don't you do 10, you could do 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35.
Okay.
You're right. Did you already say that,
Right.
Patty? I'm
No, that
sorry.
was my question. We can, if you want, do 30 and 35 or 25 and 30 at a higher level.
Maybe.
I'm thinking anything over 25 should be at a higher level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 100.
Sounds good to me.
And
Okay.
we'll do them on the January and July meetings. That sounds right. I mean, the cleanup will be different, but I'm just saying as, or whatever. I'm just saying, you see in there, it says the presentation be,
Just that if somebody retires, I think it should be done at the next monthly meeting. Not have to wait 6 months.
We have meetings every month.
Yes, we do.
Are we going to continue with the bronze?
From the Remington,
Mhm.
just that retirement.
Yeah, that's at retirement.
can't beat that.
Really? Okay,
Oh,
sorry.
I got one,
Okay.
when I,
See,
left
my
the board
opinion
in
is like, I don't want
1990.
a bronze, I don't want a print, I don't want, just let me say what I want. I'm more of a, yeah, that's just me, but it's a consensus. What do you think? Everyone likes the bronze? Sorry.
You got right back in, didn't you?
I just want to be able to retire at some point in my life.
Do you want a Remington bronze?
I just want to be able to retire.
I'm like, just give me the 200, just give me the $200. I don't want the bronze, yeah.
We can talk about discretion of the board maybe.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, no, it's fine.
Okay. Then section 9, discipline, terminations, layoff, resignations. There is no other disciplinary policy that I'm aware of other than section 905 below.
Okay. Why do we have that?
There may be, is there? Yeah, I don't think there is one other than, so maybe we'll just change that. Page 54, dispute resolution, severance pay.
Severance pay.
Mhm. An employee must be here for 5 years of continuous service,
Involuntarily separated.
right? Consent for reasons other than cause or inefficiency.
I was gonna say, you know what that means to me? You got fired. Why would we want to pay severance if we fired somebody?
Severance is usually in a condition other than being fired.
Right,
Yeah, did I read that wrong?
who are involuntarily separated from service.
If you're involuntarily separated, aren't you fired?
You're right, you didn't. volunteer
Laid
for that.
off.
Second
Better than cause though, so it's more like a layoff.
Yeah, for reasons other
Yeah.
than cause or inefficiency.
Okay, where-
So like, yeah,
where-
The
like
top
layoff.
of
Yeah.
page 55.
It's usually like when you're laid off,
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That explains it. Okay.
like yeah.
All right, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Thanks for reading, Emery.
So it's 1 week of pay for each full year of service.
For years 1 through 10,
Mhm. 2 weeks
for each year between
beyond
beyond
that.
the 10 years.
Okay. Have we ever done this?
No?
Didn't?
Time?
Oh, that's right. We could have though.
Mm,
Okay.
No one met that.
Nobody has in a while, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Is it something that we want to keep in here? Is this something that is part of the policy that we want to?
Well, I
Okay.
think that people know that there could be situations in environment where we have to reduce the workforce, but I think an employee needs to know that
I
there's
see.
a little bit of a soft landing, especially if you've been here for, what is
Right.
it, 5 years?
Yeah.
That's when it kicks
Yeah,
in.
5.
I mean,
Okay.
if you've given something
That's right.
there, at least
Okay.
to know it's there.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
Not that it makes it any easier or anything, but
Right. Okay.
it's just more,
So I'm not sure why we have 9.08.
Displacement.
Because the second paragraph says employees affected by this policy may be eligible for
Why would we have
employment or
in-
severance.
MC positions that are temporary. Part-time or probationary. Suppose you could, but our positions are so different.
Hmm,
Somebody in one Like, she couldn't move into CFO, nor should you move into.
Nor I could go to the airport, right? And we don't tend to have an abundance of management positions where you could move around anyway.
Right. Pretty specialized. Especially for MCs. Union contract calls for it, but MCs, I don't think we need it. Jen,
Okay.
you think?
Yeah, no, I don't,
All right.
Can take
we
it
can't,
out.
yeah, so 9.08 is going.
Mhm.
So 9.09 references is just basically, people ask for a reference, they receive a letter stating the position and length of service, no personal.
No, it's not really a reference. It's really a confirmation to a
Okay.
respective employer, and I recommended we change the word to confirmation.
Okay, yeah, that's a little more,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to change reference to confirmation.
Mhm.
Okay.
The open door policy. When I first saw that title, I thought it meant employees need to keep their doors open. But that's not what it was.
I'm good with that.
Mhm.
Okay. Full disclosure. And then we come to the confidentiality agreement and receipt of handbooks.
I think we've already taken care of all that.
Mhm.
Mhm. And the first part is the confidentiality, and then the second sentence.
Yep.
You understand, and the effective date is, we'll change that as we get there.
Whatever, yeah.
Can we work it, will this be two-sided?
Yeah.
And then can we have it bound or something, or should it be loose?
I would
Should be
recommend
bound, eh?
if we either bind it or loose leaf it. Loose leaf, the only good thing about loose leaf is if we change a policy, you can take out page 54 and put in a new page 54.
Right,
But that also negates doing it double sided. Well, it doesn't, because you can
right,
do that. But that's why I like loose leaf, because you can just take one out and put one in.
right.
But I believe we should have, everybody should have this in a small half-inch binder.
Right. And I really like that sign off page too. Then
Yeah.
you're going to cut through, oh, I didn't,
I
you know.
didn't know.
Mhm. Right,
And in the back of that, we would put. Oh, I didn't know that. We would put the travel policy, we could put a tab for the travel policy. And there are a couple of forms that are referenced to. One is the insurance buyout. We could put an example of that form
right.
that
good.
would come out.
And again, our travel policy is already, it's
That's a state.
done. It's a standard
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah, I didn't have any
Okay.
questions on that.
I did not. Did you, Tony? Have any questions about the travel policy? Okay. So Patty, thank you for going through that. And I know you'd really like earmark certain sections. So you'll update with some of the revisions we talked
Yes.
about, and it will come to the next full board meeting on the 16th for adoption.
Yes, I will send out,
Okay.
after Ned does the table of contents and those couple of things, I'm going to ask him, how do we do a couple of things here that he recommended? And I'll highlight those and I'll send this back out to you before we give it to the board.
Excellent. All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Can I make a statement just on,
Thank you.
unrelated, but we have upgraded the website. It
Oh,
went live over the
Yay.
weekend. It's a work in progress. It's much cleaner and there's going to be there's going to be some tweaks to it, but I just, rather than stay with what we had, we change it over to, I'd say it's probably 80 to 90% complete, but there's some things, some links haven't tied in, but the general structure and skeleton of it is what I want to see. And I think you'll find it's a lot cleaner. There'll be things we
Take a
can add
look.
to it. but-
Yeah, the
Yeah.
contact.
Huh?
There's no number or address.
No, I know.
No.
Okay, I don't know if that was purposeful.
No, there's the
I for-
contacts up
yes.
there, and then, and that goes with the individual entities that we have.
Right.
We need to add some of that, but rather than just, part of it was just, I want to get going on, rather than just say, let's wait and go back without doing it, but I'd rather get some of that up there. And we'll improve on it here pretty quickly.
Great.
Let member Terminelli know.
I know. She's my harshest critic in that regard. Anyway.
He was, yeah.
Well, thanks, Steve. for
Tony, have
that.
you seen any more information on this survey?
No.
I didn't know what, there was an update on, it was out there and with that, but
Nicole set it so that after that date, it shut off like accepting responses.
oh, okay.
So whatever it is, that's what it is.
What's it end up, 160 something?
We had, yeah, it was like 175. It was
Oh.
more than I expected, honestly. It was a lot of people.
Good,
That's
Okay.
great. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Our personnel committee meeting is adjourned.
Good.
Thank you.
That was